We start tonight with India's borders. Recently, China issued a new map. It made sweeping claims on Indian land. Today, India has given a response. India has launched new infrastructure projects along the border. India's Defence Minister was in Jammu today. He unveiled 90 projects, 90. They're spread out across India's border with China. And what kind of projects are these? Well, we have a list. 22 roads, 63 bridges, 1 tunnel, 2 airfields and 2 helipads. So 90 projects in all. India's Border Roads Organization, or BRO, has built these projects. This is a government department. It maintains road networks in India's border areas, hence the name Border Roads Organization. And what is the cost of these projects? More than $300 million. This is strategic investment. India needs better infra at the border to deal with the threat that China poses. While talks are on to de-escalate, it's important to be prepared for the worst. Last month, on the sidelines of the BRICS summit in South Africa, Prime Minister Modi and President Xi are said to have reached an agreement, some sort of a deal to de-escalate. But we've seen no forward movement since. In the meantime, the Chinese side has been rapidly expanding infrastructure along the border. We have an assessment. Last year, India's army chief gave some details. His name is General Manoj Pandey. He said China's construction continues unabated. In fact, let me quote from what he said. In terms of infrastructure development, that is going unabated. There is road infrastructure, helipads, airfields, including roads right up to the passes. General Pandey highlighted one project in particular. It's called the G695 road. As of July 2022, China was yet to begin work on this. Now, what is the purpose of this highway? To connect Tibet to Xinjiang. According to the Indian Army assessment, this highway would run parallel to the LAC, the line of actual control, which is the de facto border between India and China. It will give China some unique advantages. They'll be able to move the forces closer to the LAC, also switch deployments from one sector to another. So irrespective of a de-escalation now, if and when it happens, China has long-term plans for this border. The PLA will keep building capacity on its side, and India has no option but to match it. For the Indian Army to be able to defend the border, you need infrastructure. You need connectivity to mobilize troops and to send supplies and reinforcements. China has been building infra for decades now. India started only a few years back. But even in this short period, India has made aggressive strides. Since the standoff in Ladakh began, India has taken a multi-pronged approach. Border connectivity has been improved through new roads, bridges, tunnels, highways, inland waterways and railroads. And where were these projects commissioned? Along the border with China, in Ladakh, in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh. So 4 states and 1 union territory. India is building more roads and doing so at a faster pace. Let me show you some data. From 2008 to 2014, India constructed more than 3,600 kilometers of roads. Then from 2014 to 2022, India built more than 6,800 kilometers of roads. So in 8 years, the pace of construction has almost doubled. In addition to the infrastructure, India is adding more defense assets to the region. Recently, India deployed fighter jets in Ladakh, the French Rafales and the Sukhoi 30s. These jets are on high alert and they regularly conduct air patrols. This is to ensure thorough surveillance. In case of any misadventure by the Chinese side, these planes are ready to respond. Apart from this, new programs are being rolled out. This year, India announced a scheme called Vibrant Villages. Now, this is a new strategy. We told you about this. It's aimed at consolidating border areas. The program was announced in the month of April. The budget for this is almost $600 million. The first phase will cover almost 3,000 villages. India plans to build essential infrastructure in these villages. Things like all-weather roads, drinking water supplies, round-the-clock electricity, mobile and internet connectivity, and health and wellness centers. Now, these vibrant villages will be developed in the border regions in 4 states and the Union Territory of Ladakh, the ones that we mentioned. China has been watching India's moves, and it has spoken about the Vibrant Villages plan. China says it, quote-unquote, is firmly against this, which is funny, because China has no say in this. India has every right to develop villages on its side of the border, and this is a game that China started. They challenged India's sovereignty. And now they want to dictate India's moves. Unfortunately for them, it's not happening. When it comes to border infrastructure, India has a lot of catching up to do. But the 90 projects inaugurated today are a good response to China's map war.